this. I just started my recording. Sorry to everybody who has been here for 5 minutes already. Yes, I will. I did send out one email, but I will just resend that again, and it has the link for the FEMA webinar, which is coming up on October 7th. And then it also has a link for a Google Drive that contains all of the resource typing documents. So yes,
Okay.
I can send those out.
All right, and I apologize if I missed it or if you had already
No, it's
sent
fine.
it. I'll go back
Go
and
ahead.
look for it. But
It's okay.
all right, thank you.
I think let's see if I can, I'm not going to try to find it now because, actually I just found it a minute ago, so maybe it won't be that bad. I sent it on September 22nd.
Oh, that was a good day.
Was it?
Barbara's
Just while I'm sitting
birthday.
here. Oh, I just forwarded it to you, Mike. So there you go.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And if anybody else didn't see that email has a little more information on the resource typing, you can put your name in the chat or send me an email and ask me to send it to you, and I'll be happy to do that. I'm always tweaking my mailing list, and I want everybody to be on it because I do send stuff out. I try not to bombard you with information, but there's just been a lot happening lately, and so I try to get information out to you guys that I think is relevant and interesting. Of course, you can always unsubscribe, and I only shed 2 or 3 tears whenever somebody unsubscribes. So don't worry about me or my feelings. It's okay. Any other questions or comments on resource typing?
Sam, just to be clear.
Yep.
Do we need to go it in the kind of the typical task book order of a person needs to start at the bottom, get the task book done, move to the next level, get the task book
Yeah,
done?
that is the typical, and I think most of you have probably already done everything for the CERT volunteer position. So you would just, need to maybe document that. They're probably, they're going to want to know the date of your basic training class. So I feel like everybody on here could be a CERT volunteer right now, and probably many of you could also fulfill the chief right now. So yeah, but it's all outlined in those task books.
Right. And at the state level, with you being in the position that you're in, are you going to recommend when we start getting up into the team leader, or if this actually gets pulled into the the branches, and we say we're going to have a CERT position in the IMT Western Branch, Central Branch, whatever, are you going to recommend from your office to have a 0305 class or any of the 300s or 400s or anything like that?
I at least think 300 and 400 are a super good idea. At this point, we're not, NCEM is not requiring that. I was sort of writing our description of what a CERT responder is for statewide deployment just about the same time that FEMA came out with the national stuff. So in the SOG, which we are going to talk about shortly here, it does outline a little bit about being a CERT responder, is what I called it for North Carolina. Again, I don't want to be searching for things when I'm trying to talk to you guys, but it does, oh, here we go. So to be statewide deployable, you just have to be a graduate of CERT basic training, be a member in good standing of a CERT program. You have to have a current response team profile on terms. According to our attorney, you do have to be over the age of 18 and then sign the paperwork that's in the SOG. I would really like to recommend things, and funny little words, recommend or require, right? They're very similar words. At this point, I would say recommend. There may be a point where we update the SOG and so forth, where we may require the ICS classes. I think it's a great idea, and certainly 100, 200, 700, if not 3 and 4 as well. That was a very long answer to your question. I'm sorry.
No, that's a great answer, and maybe we can pick this up again when we have the council.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. So you are here tonight.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm getting ready to fly out though, but I'm here.
Garrett just said you weren't here, and I didn't expect you because I was going to have you talk about this much more in depth at another meeting, and we can still go more in depth on this. And I think it would be worthwhile for us, to even go through the task books maybe together. And if people have questions, then we can all look at it together and figure it out.
I agree. That'd be a great use
Yeah.
of our time.
Coming soon to a computer screen near you. We'll do it. Anything else on resource typing? All right. I would like to know how you all are doing, what is new with your teams, and how are you all coping with COVID restrictions? And it's like things got better for a while and now they're kind of tighter again. I know here at the state level, we are again, we've been told, well, it was supposed to go through the end of September, which of course is today, that we couldn't really do any in-person training. I expect that to continue into October. The numbers are trending down, but I still think they're not quite where people want them to be. So at this point, I've canceled all of my in-person training through the end of October. And there's a couple of things I have November, December that are sort of still up in the air. So I'm almost looking to like after the first of the year before I can really try to get back. But I'd like to know how you all are doing. How are your teams? Are you guys staying in touch? Are you training virtually? What's going on out there with y'all?
Can I start, Samantha?
Please, yes. And Randy, tell everybody who you are and what CERT program you're with.
Sure. My name's Randy Stark. Carry CERT is our organization. I'm the president of Carry CERT. And I'm very pleased to tell you, I think it was 4 months ago, we had our first meeting back together again. And that was out in Bond Park in the open, I would say we had an open air shelter. And we had a small showing, so we were a little concerned.
Yeah.
But since then, every month after, we're closing in about 30 in person. We've been holding them at a fire station in Cary. They have a huge training room in Cary Fire Station 9. So we're seated when nobody's on top of each other. That's the best
good.
part. That's the best part. They do require mask wearing. But the last 3 meetings, we've had in-person training, and I'd say we had about 30 people at each meeting.
Great.
Now, I do know there are a few folks who don't want to come to these yet. They're not comfortable, and that's perfectly fine. We're trying to, we've had asks where we could do maybe have a virtual session at the same time, but it doesn't work. It's not so easily to.
That's hard to do. I've
Yes.
tried to do that where you have people there in the room and you're trying to do WebEx or Zoom at the same time. That's difficult.
Exactly. So overall, I mean, I'm very pleased, and I know the group has been very pleased that look, a lot of people were really happy to meet. Now, I understand there's still concerns, but we're continuing to meet in person until we're told otherwise. And I'll stop right there.
Well, that's good news. I'm glad to hear that. And for those of you who don't know, Cary is not the oldest CERT program in the state, but it was one of the first. I'm sure in the top, one of the first 5, and I think probably the largest in the state.
2006 is when we formed officially.
Okay.
And as far as the size, I don't know. I think Apex is taking us on.
Maybe so. Maybe so.
But that's fine. No, we're holding our own. I'm
Yeah.
pleased to say we're holding our own, and
Good.
we're getting things back up off the ground. And we this past week we had our meeting for putting our complete 2022 plan together, and that's coming together nicely. And we'll see how it all goes. That's the best I could say at the moment. We're also, let me just add one more thing.
Yes, please.
We've discussed about having a CERT basic class early 2022, and I mean a full basic class, not the what do you call it, the virtual one?
Yeah, or a hybrid or whatever.
Right, exactly. So we're hoping that either end of January or early February we'll do the first one for 2022.
Great. Awesome. How about anybody else? What else is going on around the state? How are your teams doing?
Samantha, this is Ann Keys. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Ann.
Okay, this is Ann Keys, and I'm with Washington County CERT, and I am pleased to say that we are moving forward. We are actually assisting with COVID clinics. We're helping the health department with those. We're
Great.
back to delivering meals for the senior center. We are also working at the food banks when we need to. The different churches, we assist them when needed, and we also assist the fire departments when there's a need. We
Great.
have, we actually have a flu clinic that's coming up, and some of my CERT volunteers will be assisting with the flu clinics through the fire department.
That's awesome. So do they, when they're helping out with these vaccine clinics, whether it's flu or COVID, what are they doing? Like, are they doing traffic? Are they registering people? What kinds of actual activities are they doing?
They're actually monitoring. They're
Oh,
15
great.
or 20 minutes. They're actually inside monitoring, and
Excellent.
I'm mighty pleased with the
Yay.
presentation that we, participation that we actually get from our volunteers.
That's
And
awesome.
I will say that Washington County CERT came on in 2003.
Oh, very good. Sorry, Randy, they got you by 3 years.
That's terrific.
It is terrific.
And
And
we are
they
still
are an
here.
awesome bunch.
Yes.
Yep. They're awesome up there. Somebody else I think was wanting to talk. I think, is it the person that's just a phone number, but I don't see a name. Did you want to say something about your team?
I want to say something, Samantha.
Okay, go ahead. Tell us who you are and where you are, what team you are.
I'm Melody Dickerson and I'm with Cape Fear CERT.
Thank you, Mel.
All of our meetings have been shut down due to COVID. The fire department's off limits until it was supposed to be the end of September. Now it's the end of October. But we have been very active in the community. There's been events and we've been at all of them.
Great. What do you do at the events?
We've been doing a lot of traffic and first aid.
Great. That's awesome. It keeps you out there in the public eye, right?
Yes.
That's great. I know that you all are sponsored by the Fayetteville Fire Department. Do you have to meet in a fire station? Are there, any other options of someplace that you all could meet? And I understand, I mean, it was the same thing around here that sometimes the fire station was just off limits and they weren't letting anybody in that wasn't an employee. And I understand that, but I mean, is there any place else that might be available to have a meeting?
Well, actually, Parks and Rec will let us have a room, but we're working on doing some outside meetings
Great.
for this month.
Perfect. That sounds like a good plan. Anybody else share what's going on with you?
Well, you know
Well,
what?
Sam, this is Andrew from Alexander County.
Hey, Andrew.
And we're busy. We're busy as always. Unfortunately, because of the rise of the cases in this region, a lot of the county functions that we were going to volunteer for were canceled. So we had a pretty full schedule, and then it disappeared on us. So that was fine. But we just had our quarterly meeting and ironed out some training expectations for the volunteers. And I got both you and my other boss here on at the same time. Garrett,
we'll compare
has
notes.
So I'm sure that Garrett's going to mention what he's getting ready to do, which is going to be an interesting angle from an emergency management standpoint.
Yeah.
Garrett, you want to speak to that?
Yeah, Garrett. Oh, he said he might be away from the computer. So
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
oh, there he is. Okay.
So, as you know, this is EMPG selection season.
Yep.
For the locals, and 5 of our 9 options.
Hang on one second. You got real quiet. Like I did hear you, but then you kind of dropped off. I'm going to see if I can increase your volume from here.
How about now?
Oh, that's much better. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, go ahead.
So, you know that it's EMPG selection season, and 5 of our 9 optionals are going to be on the shoulders of CERT.
Wow.
That is twofold. One is because it relieves a lot of tension in the office on making sure that those things get done.
Mm-hmm.
It takes stuff that's easy to do off of our plate so that we're not looking like we're just skirting by to get our allowance.
Yeah.
It also bolsters our team, and allows them to get the publicity they need and the FaceTime. So
Love
they're
it.
going to be handling stuff like shelter surveys, impact assessments, local IMT,
Wow.
a couple others, inventory maintenance for Dipper assets.
Cool.
There's one more I can't remember off the top of my head, but they're going to be very active for us doing that stuff. I recently tasked Andrew and his team with helping find some radio dead zones for an
Oh,
upcoming.
that's cool. That's a
Yep.
great idea.
We're doing BRIC, the BRIC grant.
Yeah.
So, and part of that is to build up the radio system, and they're helping find the dead zones for that. So, very active GMRS team.
Fantastic. I love to hear that. And-
Yeah, no pressure. No pressure.
Yeah,
either,
right.
so.
Right. And has the county supplied the team with radios, or did they already have their own radios?
Generally, when we need, so our layered communication system is we're primarily text and phone, and then if we get activated, if there's an EOC activation, then we'll go to Viper.
Okay.
That's issued out by Garrett's team.
Yep.
And what we're doing, we're building up the GMRS at we're actually approaching this from two angles. We're kind of tasking the team. Okay, go ahead and do GMRS, get your license, because they already have the radios. And then we're going out into the community and supporting the local amateur radio club and trying to get some individuals in the community to get
That's great.
involved in that as well. So it's a twofold angle.
I love it. And that's a great partnership with the local CERT programs and the radio clubs. I love to see them working together. That's, it's a good overlap. I like that. Well, that's awesome, Garrett. I hope that you'll keep us posted on how things go.
I will.
Great. Tony, I think you had your hand up. Did you want to add something? I don't know where he went. Where's his name? It looks like his name fell. Oh, no, there he is. Tony, can you hear me? Oh, he had his hand up for a second. Anybody else? What kind of activities is your team doing? What kind of challenges are you having, whether it's COVID related or anything else? Anybody got anything else to report on from your team?
I should, this is Randy Stock, and I should add which I was remiss in mentioning, I think it's 2 weekends ago, the town of Cary had their public safety days, which usually we have it every year, once a year, and then naturally because of COVID, it was canceled last year. This year's event included Morrisville, Apex Fire, the police departments from Apex, Morrisville, Fuquay, State Police, NC State Police, and Cary CERT participated. And what we did was several years, actually it's prior to COVID, Cary CERT received the grant from Duke Energy, and we took a good portion of that money and put it into building starter emergency supply kits. We built 250 of them, and we were going to start getting out to the community, but due to COVID, we couldn't. So this weekend, this 3-hour window we had at Public Safety Days, we were able to set up our trailer tent, and we spoke to we did 45 individual families, and they were given starter kits and were provided with emergency preparedness information.
Awesome.
Yeah, I should have added that before. Sorry.
No, that's great. I love it. And, Randy and I actually spoke on the phone earlier today, and he was telling me a little bit about that. And I'm saying this to Randy, but I'm saying it to all of you too. When you have a great event like that, or anything that you all are doing, send me some pictures, write up a couple of paragraphs about it, and I want to send it on to FEMA, to the Individual and Community Preparedness Division. I always have to do that slowly in my head, ICPD, because they put out a CERT newsletter, an electronic newsletter, and I want to see more North Carolina teams in there and in highlighting you guys and all the wonderful stuff that you're doing across our state. So send me your stuff. I want pictures. and a couple of paragraphs. It doesn't have to be super long because their newsletter is very short anyway, but just let us know what's going on. So we want to brag on you to FEMA.
So Samantha.
Yeah.
Real quick, Mike Thorney with Morrisville CERT.
Yes.
Similar story as far as what Carrie kind of dealt with coming out of virtual training and then team training. We're still doing team training, wearing masks in the fire station.
Mm-hmm.
We are hoping to, I'm sending out, so it's kind of a plug that if you have anybody who's looking to do some a CERT basic training course, so I see a lot of them popping up. We're doing one. The practical portion will be the weekend, first weekend in December, but we'll do the hybrid online and then move forward with that there.
Great.
We bought some radios with the team. We got a grant, and so I'm trying to slowly get folks moved over. Right now we have FRS capabilities and GMRS, but I'm trying to get folks headed towards ham.
Great.
And amateur radio. So that's kind of where Morrisville is headed. We do have a fire safety day this weekend. Our CERT team will be out there with a tent and then helping out as well and doing public outreach.
I love it.
We'd love to have anybody stop by, see what we got. We don't have much, but
is that going to be at Station 1?
It's actually held at the Target.
Oh, okay.
In the Park West Plaza down there.
Nice.
So we're gonna have I think it's Duke Life Flight, either Duke Life Flight or Wake Med, and then I think we've got 22 different folks attending.
Wow.
As I'll call them, vendors. So
yeah,
lots of things, but so we're
it.
trying and we're hoping to maintain. So far, the town is we basically go by what the town allows.
Sure.
So if the town allows us to be in the building, then we're doing that. But I'm also happy to say that we're actually we're outgrowing the training room at the fire station. So we're having to consider somewhere else for monthly training nights.
That's awesome.
So
that's a cozy training room there. So time for a bigger space. I like it.
Anyways, thanks for holding this. I'm sorry I got to go for another meeting, but
okay.
I will reach out to you later. But I did.
Great. Okay.
Yeah, Mike, before you go, this is Randy Stark. We need to touch base with each other somehow. Is there a way I can get your email address or something?
Can I send it to him, Mike?
Yes.
Have your permission? All right, I'll send it to you.
Thanks.
If you can send them all my contact information, whatever you have. And
okay.
Yeah, Randy, give me a call. I work every day, typically 7 to 3:30. So.
Okay. Yeah, we need to touch base. I want to get you updated on some things we're planning, and we're going to be working with Apex and something else. So we'd like to see if we can get Morrisville to join in. We'll talk to you down the road. Thanks.
Sounds great. Thanks, Randy. I look forward to it. Thanks, y'all. Have a good night.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for all you do.
Thanks, and bye.
So Mike is the firefighter who oversees the Morrisville team. So it's great to have that support of the local fire department. Anything else that you guys have on your local teams? Is anybody here from Chatham? I don't see anybody from Chatham. Let's see, who else can I pick up? Oh, Fred. Fred, you're with Chatham. What are you guys doing down there? Putting Fred on the spot.
Not much.
Not much. Are you able to have monthly meetings?
We've taken the summer off. It's basically a time of let's just regroup, and we shouldn't be fighting against the trend.
Yeah.
And we need, what's rule number 1?
Your personal safety.
Your personal safety.
Yep.
And so that means we're just taking care of ourselves and we're waiting. Okay. The good news is we haven't had any hurricanes.
Shh, don't say that too loud.
We haven't had any hurricanes. Yeah, and we hope that stays that way, and we hope that we get through the fall okay. There are no guarantees, and so we have to be ready, but in terms of preparedness, we're ready, but we're not trying to make work. We're just going to
Yeah.
one, take care of ourselves, and we're in regular contact with emergency management.
Good.
And, we're ready, but not a lot going on right now.
Okay. Well, I'm glad y'all are staying in touch. And I will say, I think Chatham County has one of the best, I'm not putting any of the rest of y'all, not saying you're not as good, but you got to understand Chatham is very young. Their CERT team is only a couple of years old, but they have really integrated so well with their local emergency management office. And I think that's a huge key to their success. I think it's great that they work together so well and so often. They get together on all kinds of different projects. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and we had a major role in the COVID vaccinations, and so we're there, we're known, and
Great.
we'll be there.
Yeah, I love it. That's super. Thanks for that, Fred. Sorry to put you on the spot.
Hi, good evening,
right.
Sam.
I know. That's what I'm afraid of. Oh, well, I'd love to hear if anybody else has anything. I also wanted to get to, because we've been on for an hour now, and I don't want to, gloss over this, but you all should have at this point have seen the North Carolina standard operating guidelines for CERT. I've emailed that out to everybody. It's also available on, I'll put this website here as well in the chat. We finally have a page off of the North Carolina Emergency Management, and one that I can actually get to so I can help keep it up to date. So I'm going to put this, it's another one of these really long URLs here. And some of the handy stuff that's on this website down at the bottom is, well, I can even show it to you. Share this screen. So this is just what the page looks like here, general CERT information. This is a lot of work just keeping this up to date on classes that are coming up and so forth. And then I do have some recordings of past meetings. So if you missed one, I think I'm missing one, July needs to be put up here. And then I have the copy of the SOG is here, and this is a listing of all the current CERT programs in North Carolina. So if you want to get in touch with somebody in another county, or somebody stops you at your event that you're at and they're in Cary for an event, but they say, but I actually live in such and such county, there's some place you can point them to help them find a CERT program near them. So that's some neat stuff there. The other bit I wanted to show you is the SOG. So has everybody seen this? I'm seeing some heads nodding, so that's good. Just before I kind of hit any highlights, are there any general questions or concerns or anything with the SOG? All right, so again, so we have the promulgation letter that Mike Sprayberry signed on almost his last day as our director. So that's really, it means a lot to me that we get a lot of great support from the leadership at North Carolina Emergency Management, and they're super supportive of CERT. And I think it's great that they're signing off on this and just saying, we really appreciate this. So just table of contents, the mission of the CERT program, how to start a CERT program, because that's a question I get answered. I mean, I get asked at least twice a week. Somebody new wants to start a program, training, and I had to change this up kind of at the last minute to include the hybrid option of using the online class from the University of Utah. Maybe some of you may not be aware that we have a lot of supplemental training. So you've done your basic training. You may even be a CERT trainer yourself and can teach the basic training. But if you need some ideas for your monthly trainings, I have a whole sheet with lots of ideas of things that you might be able to do yourself, or maybe you would invite somebody else from your community in to talk about it, or if I ever get to travel again, I may be able to come and do a class for you, or maybe I could offer it virtually. Maybe you all can be together in a room, but I have to be here in Raleigh. It's not the way I really like to teach, but it's better than nothing. I have a whole slew of supplemental training classes that you might want to look at for, options of things to do with your CERT program. So this is if you want a new class and you don't have trainers already, you need trainers to come and help you. This is the class, the form to use for that. And this is one if you do have your own trainers and you just want me to add the class to terms for you. If I know a lot of you and you have people there in Washington County that have terms access, I'm fine. If they want to put the class on there themselves, no problem. But if you don't have access to terms, but you want your class listed, this is just the information that I need to be able to put it on terms. And then when your class is over, I need you to send me your sign-in sheets. So, it proves that everybody was there for each day. And then I will close the class out in terms, and it'll show up on everybody's transcript that they did complete that class. And then if you want one of the other classes, I listed only a few of the available classes on the top here, like animal response. The first 10 minutes is one that my husband, Jay, many of you know Jay, he's a paramedic, and he developed this class called the first 10 minutes. And it's basically a trauma class. Well, it's not all trauma. I think there's some medicine in there too. I think there's a cardiac section. But basically, if you are somewhere and something happens, what can you do in that first 10 minutes? Because it may be 10 minutes before an ambulance can get there. We hope that it could be faster than that, but some places it's not. We have an intro to WebEOC, pod operations class. So if you need to put on a pod as a point of distribution, maybe after a storm, we might hand out food and water and tarps, so you can have training for that. SAR for CERT is another class that Jay and I developed we had found out a lot of CERT volunteers were also interested in wilderness search and rescue. So this class is like an intro to SAR. If you've never done anything with search and rescue, don't know anything about it, it's just a class to kind of get your feet wet and show you what search and rescue is all about. And then there's shelter operations, volunteer and donations management, or other. What if there's some class that I haven't even thought of yet, but you think I'd really like to find someone to come in and talk about fill in the blank, whatever that might be. I may not know right off who could teach that class, but I will sure shake the bushes and find somebody who will come and talk to your group about that. And think about who else is in your town or your county, like your local police department or your sheriff's office. They might have a really great active shooter program, and they can come and talk to you about. Now, CERT does not respond in an active shooter situation, but what if you're just in the grocery store and something happens? It would be great to have taken an active shooter class so you know how to keep yourself safe. So I'm not recommending that CERTs respond to active shooters. I'm just saying it's just good information that everybody should have. Unfortunately, we all need to have that information these days. And then this talks about CERT missions and different kinds of things that CERTs can do. And what I find every day is this list could be almost infinitely long because CERT volunteers are so versatile. And just because we don't talk about it or teach it in basic training doesn't mean that CERT volunteers can't do it. If you took your CERT basic training more than 2 years ago, did we ever talk about helping out with a vaccine clinic? Nobody ever thought that that would be something that, and we've had CERT volunteers putting in thousands of hours at vaccine clinics or working phone lines, people asking questions either about COVID itself or how do I go to get a vaccine myself? We never even imagined that. So if you can dream it, CERTs can probably do it. I'm going to say probably because we are going to put a couple of little restrictions on there. But anyway, that's why I love to hear what you all are doing, because I was even writing notes while you guys were saying what was up, because I always want to tell the leadership at NCEM what you guys are up to. So we do have a CERT council. You heard Andrew mention that briefly. I guess we'll need to, we haven't been very great with doing our meetings for the CERT council, but we do have 3 representatives from each, I'm sorry, I think it's 2 representatives from each of the EM branches, Central, Eastern, and Western. And we meet semi-regularly, and I don't think I'm going to spoil anything to say that one of the things that we have talked a lot about, and I want to talk with Andrew a lot more about this, is the possibility of starting a North Carolina CERT association. Since the National CERT Association started in 2019, a lot of states, I mean, a whole lot of states have started state associations as well. And so there are pros and cons. I'm kind of in the camp of thinking there are more pros than cons. Mostly it's all about networking and sharing resources, and maybe even things like bulk buying. You know, if we all needed to buy backpacks from ProPack at about the same time, and we could buy 400 of them at once, you know, that we're all going to split up or whatever, they would give us a much better price than if I just wanted to go and buy 10 backpacks. So we could use a group buying power or something like that. So that's something we're still looking at, and I think we'll have a much more serious conversation toward the end of this year, and hopefully maybe start the new year. Yeah, with that possibly happening. Am I okay, Andrew? I didn't get in any trouble, right?
Nope, that all sounds good.
Okay, cool.
And you're spot on.
Okay, great. So yeah, basic safety, you know, what you should wear. I'm not saying there's a uniform or, you know, and everybody's different. I know for the most part, people think of green when they think of CERT, but Carrie CERT, they wear red shirts. That's fine. I just want you all to look professional. It's kind of nice if everybody dresses similarly, so you look like a cohesive unit. What's in the SOG is just mostly like, don't wear flip-flops, and, you know, be safe and look professional. Talk a little bit about protections for volunteers with the Volunteer Protection Act. We are not endorsing that CERT volunteers carry a weapon, whether that's a machete or a firearm or whatever. Now, if you're clearing brush, maybe you're using a machete for that. That's fine, but anything that you're using as a weapon, we really don't want to see armed CERT volunteers. And of course, we don't want you with alcohol or drugs in your system when you are responding as a CERT volunteer. Social media, digital images, etc. This is pretty basic. A lot of governmental agencies have very similar rules about social media and so forth. And this is the next part is something I really want to get on top of better for 2022, and that is a better record of your volunteer hours, especially when you all are responding to a declared disaster. So whether it's a state disaster or a federally declared disaster, I really would like for, you know, pick somebody on your team, if they're the logistics person or an admin person, to track those volunteer hours. So we want to know the person's name, what was the date and time that they signed in, when did they sign out, and what was the job they were doing while they were there. And those dollars can actually be, I mean, those hours can be translated into dollars that can help the state, because we have sort of a copay system with FEMA. So if there's a declared disaster, it has to be a certain dollar amount, and then the state will have to pay 20% of that, and then the FEMA or the federal government pays 80%. But we can make our 20% smaller if we say, well, we're going to pay this many dollars in volunteer hours, which this year a single hour is worth $27.42 according to the IRS. So if we have 1,000 hours, that's $27,000 that we could take off of the portion that the state has to pay to the federal government. So I want to do a better job of getting that word out to you all at the town and the county level. And especially for those declared disasters, I'm going to ask you all to there's a form somewhere in here, right here, just a volunteer reporting form, and ask you all to send those in to me after an event so that we can report that on up to FEMA. And then we just have our code of conduct, which I looked at a lot of different CERT program codes of conduct to put this one together. And I don't think, I'm going to put my foot in my mouth. Well, there's the code of conduct. How about if we just say that? What I'm trying not to say is that I have had some pushback on number, which one is it? I forget the number. Oh, number 9, you're forbidden to carry guns or other weapons. I've had a lot of pushback on that one, and that's unfortunate that we have actually had some people quit CERT because they felt like they needed to carry a firearm on them at all times. and I apologize for that. All I can say is that it's a safety issue. And anyway, take a look at that code of conduct. I would love to get one of these back for every active CERT volunteer. Just knowing that you agree that these are our standards, and I want you all to live up to these. It really reflects on the whole rest of the CERT program if one of us, you know, I don't know, does something foolish. So I just want everybody to be aware of the kinds of standards that we're looking for. And then the one that's optional is if you want to be considered when we have a statewide call out. So, you know, maybe the eastern part of the state is hit by a hurricane, or the west has some bad flooding, or gosh, I don't know, we have an earthquake in Raleigh or whatever it is, and I need to pull volunteers from other parts of the state. I would like for you to have this responder application on file with me so that I know who you are and that you're willing to come and help. Yeah, so that's just another one. And both of these forms also need to be signed off by your local program manager. If you happen to be the program manager for your team, you can just sign your own form twice. I'm okay with that because I know who most of you program managers are anyway. So yeah, so this one is optional because not everybody wants to do statewide deployment, and that's 100% fine. This one, the code of conduct, I'm really looking to get one of these from every CERT volunteer. And then that's the volunteer reporting form, and I think that's it. So this was about 2.5 years in the making to put this SOG together, and I know already that there are things that need to be updated on it. I can't promise that it will be completely updated annually. It might be biannually, but it is definitely, I think it's a good resource for us all to have, to kind of give us, like the name implies, it's guidelines. So, you know, if you have a question, hopefully it's answered in there. And if not, then let me know. And maybe for the next iteration of the SOG, we can add in something that's not there now. So I've been talking a long time, and I'm going to be quiet and see if you guys have any thoughts, comments, anything on the SOG.
I would like to mention, Samantha, that in Washington County, we actually keep up with our volunteer hours because we're on the county's insurance.
Yes.
And we have to report to the finance office the number of hours that we have.
That's excellent. So I know she was breaking up a little bit there, but I don't know if you guys heard that in Washington County, they have to track all the volunteer hours because of they're on the county insurance, right? Like workers' comp type insurance. Is that right? Oh, now her video is.
Correct.
Oh, there she is. She's back. Yeah. Okay, good. So I didn't know if y'all,
correct.
you know, heard her because she broke up a little. So that's great. And so do you record even all your training hours as well, or just your deployment hours or activation?
No, training hours as well. And the office assistant keeps up with all of those hours and turn them into finance.
That's wonderful. I love to hear that. Cool beans. Yay. Anybody else? Comments, thoughts on the SOG?
Well,
If for some reason you have not seen this, you can either download it from that website that I put in the chat or email me and I'll be happy to send it out to you. And I'm sorry, I thought I heard a voice like someone else was about to say something.
I was about to say this was the timing was perfect because we were in the process of writing our own, and then you presented this to our
Great.
CERT, and we are now mandating that every new CERT member signs this, and at sometime between now and the end of the year, we're going to be asking the rest of the CERT team to start signing it.
Great.
So no, I think it's definitely needed. We haven't had any pushback so far, so
good.
I'm glad that it was done.
Good. Well, thank you for that, Randy.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
About the hours.
Yeah.
So we try to track as many hours as possible, meaning all our meeting hours, all our you know, in front of citizens whenever we're doing any events. You don't really need those hours.
I don't know, but I definitely think at the local level, yes, track everything. I think that's fantastic.
Yes.
At the state level, all I really need is anything for a declared disaster.
Gotcha. No problem. Good.
Yep. And by the way, COVID is a declared disaster still. So all those hours, if anybody, I'm going to send this out probably in November to get everybody ready for 2022. But those of you who have good records of the hours that your volunteers have put in during this year of 21, working COVID, whether it's vaccine clinics or call centers or anything that you've done in COVID response, those are hours we can turn in for 2021. And I'll be, sending that out so everybody's aware. But that right there is going to be thousands of hours, because I know y'all have been hard at work fighting this pandemic, the never-ending pandemic.
Well, my hope is we're going to see an end to it in 2022. I keep praying that.
I hope so. I really hope so.
I think
It's gotten a little old.
yes.
Yes.
Let's hope that none of these other variants become dominant.
Yeah. Let's hope. Let's hope. Anybody else have any thoughts or comments on the SOG at all? Let me see my chat. When I shared my screen, I didn't open my chat. Let's see if oh, the math on reimbursement. Okay. Sorry, I'm behind on my chats. Is there a different reimbursement for? No, there's no difference in reimbursement for Oxcom or CERT members. The only difference would be who you report it to. So I'm really only looking at CERT volunteers, and it may be somebody else with Oxcom who would total up your Oxcom hours. But yeah, the IRS actually every year, usually right around July 1st, that's generally the start of the new fiscal year, they declare, some accountant with the IRS decides what the value is of a volunteer hour. And for 21, 22, so like July 1st to next June 30th, the value of that hour is $27.42. I don't know how they come up with that. But yeah. All right. And Fred, I'm not exactly sure what you mean on the math of the reimbursement. So wait, what it means, like you don't get paid anything. I don't know if I'm saying this right. It's like to take off of the state's portion of what they have to pay back to the federal government. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Anyway, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry it wasn't more clear.
That's fine.
I don't expect a check.
I know.
But I'm trying to understand, what I want to do is be able to make the case with our volunteers in terms of the importance of reporting their hours. Okay. And
Yeah.
so what
Oh,
is
yeah.
what is the financial impact of that? And you laid it out very well.
Okay, good.
And all I want is an email which lays it out just as well.
Okay.
I can forward it on to those that don't quite get it.
I will make that happen. Thank you.
Ma'am.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that. All right, guys. Anything else on your hearts and minds? We've been together almost 90 minutes, and I don't want to steal any more of your evening time, but it's really good to see faces. I'm working remotely, so mostly I'm with my cats and my dog. So it's kind of nice to see some other humans out there.
Where's the horse?
Oh, well, he's in the barn. He's just not here in my bedroom with me, but yeah, I see him every day too. Thank you for asking. I'll tell him you were asking after him. That means now I get to brag on him and show you this picture. I actually had a professional photographer out recently to do some photo shoot, and here he is looking like a supermodel. That's my Elliot. Just one of the shots that were taken that day. So
An Arabian.
no, he's a quarter horse actually.
Really?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, his face looks a little dished. I think it's just the angle of the way his left eye is sort of halfway showing. But yeah, he's a quarter horse. But
Beautiful.
sorry guys, but somebody mentioned the horse. I was being good, and then Fred had to mention the horse, so now you all have to see his picture. Oh, you all are awesome. All right, guys. As you know, I hope you know, I am always available if you want to send me an email or call me. Let me know what's going on with you. If there's anything I can do to help you in your CERT program, let me know. Again, I'm not promising to have all the answers or all the fixes, but I will do my level best to find an answer for you, whatever your question might be. So don't hesitate to reach out. All right, guys, unless you have any final thoughts or questions or anything, I'm going to sign off and hope to see you all in person real soon. That would be really nice. Take care, everybody. Be safe.
You too.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.